Hi, I'm Zan. Behind the camera is my friend Jaden. If you ever wonder what it'd be like to be a male teacher at an all girls school, stay tuned to find out. Welcome to our docu-series Boys to Men, where we interview interesting men about the lives they've led. Today, our guest is Mr. Nick Louis, a male teacher at the prestigious all-girls school, Joseph's Convent. Good, Mr. Louis.
Good morning.
So, for the purpose of this interview, what is your full name?
My name is Nicholas Louis.
Did you ever have a nickname?
Well, yes, growing up, I had two nicknames, one from school and one from home. Everybody who knew me growing up in my family and in the neighborhood would call me Nicky. And when I got to secondary school, I got a nickname after my brother.
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Balata. I was born and spent 3 years of my life in Menard Hill, Pave area, and then at the age of 3, moved to Balata where I lived there for about 19 years. Just about.
What was your boyhood like?
My boyhood is a time that I remember with such fond memories. Growing up in Balata, and I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, right? So this was a time when we had no social media. There were no personal computers about the place, and we grew up literally being boys, riding bikes, climbing trees, playing games, football, a little roughhousing, going to the beach, cooking food, you name it, we did it.
So, what was your favorite cartoon or show that you would like to watch?
I really love the direction that this interview is taken because people might not understand. As boys growing into men, there are certain things that we love and it will always be a part of our childhood. I think every 80s child will agree with me, and probably every 80s boy will say that favorite cartoons had to be G.I. Joe, Transformers, and these were staples. Of course, there's the Scooby-Doo that everybody watched, but G.I. Joe and Transformers were definitely staples in every boy's life, and we really enjoyed it. Oh,
okay, I thought you would have said Looney Tunes.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that goes without saying. I think every single person in the world has watched Looney Tunes and Flintstones. Yeah, but yes. a special shout out also to X-Men cartoons on a Saturday. I think we enjoy Saturday mornings watching Spider-Man, X-Men, and the Fox cartoons. We all grew up with it.
Wow. So, moving away from your general life, I would like to ask about your school life. What was that like for you?
So, infant school, I really didn't like it. The thought of leaving my home and going to this place for hours on end when I wanted to be home playing and all that kind of stuff. It is going from grade 4, 5, 6. I started to excel. Primary school was really amazing. By the way, I went to RC Boys School in town.
Okay.
Okay, and at the end of grade 6 or standard 4, upon doing common entrance, actually placed 5th in the island. Secondary school was probably the most enjoyable part of my school life. Went to St. Mary's College. How come?
Yes.
Well, I went to St. Mary's College. I mean, anybody who went to St. Mary's knows that we don't even have to say, like they say, if you know, you know. But of course, all of the schools would say the same thing. But St. Mary's College is, St. Mary's College is brotherhood, camaraderie, stomping ground. You learn, become a man. You have your fails, you have your wins, and it's all around just an amazing experience. So the third part, I would call it tertiary education, and this is where I chose to go to school, because after high school you could choose to go to work or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Tell you, this was the part of my life which broke me down into parts, put me back together, broke me down again, and showed you that the world is not what you thought it was. Tertiary education taught me about how competitive people can be. It taught me that sometimes when you think you're good, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's somebody better than you. And it also taught me that you need to be hungry for whatever that you want to.
You know, there's a pandemic right now. If there's a pandemic during your time, how do you think you and your friends would cope in terms of social life and school life?
Let me tell you, if there was a pandemic in the 80s or the 90s, we would be playing all the time. I will be quite honest. Um, the thought of online school was really not even a thought at that time. So I think if had we had this pandemic in the 90s, probably we would have gotten packages to pick up and physically do work, but that might have been the extent of it. But I think definitely as boys growing up, we would have taken that time to learn life skills. And when I talk about life skills, I'm talking about playing football, going in the bush to cook food, catching fish, just being boys.
Yes. What is it like to be teaching at an all-girls school?
What is it like teaching at an all-girls
Yes.
school? I think you would really love the answer to that question. Being a man at an all-girls school, I feel this sense of responsibility and duty. So it's important in this environment to be somebody that they can look up to, somebody that they could see as a role model for them, a good male figure, somebody they feel comfortable with. And
what was it like for you at the start when you were a young man teaching at the school? Was it anything different?
What was it like? I will honestly say it was intimidating, and I'll tell you why. I started off when I was 19 years old, and there were people who were 17 years old there. There were people who I knew from school, and there were people that were friends of mine, to be quite honest, people who were friends of mine, and people that you knew. So it was almost like, I would say, I was almost like a prefect. You know what it's like to be a prefect in a higher form and the lower form students. So it was intimidating as well, because you being one of the few males there, and there are like 600 or 700 girls around you, you're like, oh boy. So being a 19-year-old in a school of girls, right?
Yeah.
You literally want to just run away and hide from them.
In your opinion, what is the greatest achievement?
What is my greatest achievement? I think I'm very proud of the fact that my job is making a meaningful contribution to a lot of people. And I've interacted with thousands of people in the past 14 years that I've had this job. And I have people coming back to me and telling me, thank you because you helped me out or you inspired me. I remember you and that kind of stuff. And I think I'm proud of that achievement, that I have made some impact on somebody who was a child and who is now an adult, and their life was shaped because of my interaction with them. So I'm very proud of that.
What advice would you have for me?
Okay. So the advice I have for you is take your time to grow up. Enjoy every aspect of becoming a man. So right now, you went from boy to now to teenager. Enjoy every moment of it. So your teenage years, enjoy it to the max. Be a normal teenager. Do what normal teenagers do. When you get older and you become a man, do what a young man in his 20s will do and enjoy it. When you become a middle-aged man, enjoy being a middle-aged man. When you become an older man and retire, enjoy that. So basically, I think there's a season for everything as a man growing up, right? Be the best version of yourself or the best man that you can be for every season. Instances where you can be a hero, be a hero. You need heroes, you need male heroes, right? So be one. Be inspired, inspire others, but enjoy the journey. You're going to learn, you're going to fail, you're going to pick up yourself, but all of that is part of it, and just take the wholeness of it and enjoy every single part of it.
Hey! Enjoying the highlights of my interview? Give this video a thumbs up and click on the link in the description below for the full interview. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.